Hello guys, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Daily Teachings. Hope everybody's doing good. So alright guys, another day wrapped up. Was kind of a weird day and did give us a nice little breakout on the market in the middle of the day. After that it was a chop, morning chop, and there was just one big push, and we were going to recap that. Earning plays have been doing good. There were some solid earning plays, Lilly, Hood, Qualcomm. We'll discuss all those. Meta was all right, just the morning profit takes short, that's it. But anyways, before we start our recaps and our teaching, let's do a quick introduction to anybody who's new to my YouTube, new to our Twitter X accounts, or new to our community. We trade a repeatable system called Ripster EMAClouds system that thousands of traders across the world use to trade consistently. We do not trade random. We have repeatable setups. Setups is what you trade. System is how you trade. Every morning, me and my team, we make a game plan for the day. You can see the game plan right here. For the day, we have news plays. We have, we have news plays. We have earning plays, upgrades, downgrades. We make a plan live in the pre-market half an hour before the market opens. I make a live pre-market plan. We have initial support and resistance pivots, and then we have initial buys for the day. What we're gonna do, that's the buys for the day. So we trade with this game plan. I highlight any plays which are red and which are my focus. I highlight those plays. Those are the plays I'm gonna focus on to trade them with the system. So that was the plan on those main plays. But we also trade a lot of other stuff in the community. We trade futures. I provide these levels of Psych, QQQ, and I also provide these levels of NASDAQ and ES futures that you can use to trade the futures with a repeatable EMACloud system to trade the market. We also have something called day 2, day 3 strategy. The day 2, day 3 strategy covers stocks which had news yesterday or day before yesterday, and we try to trade them. I did a free webinar on this as well a while back, and we try to trade them based upon our system. We also provide daily levels for the indices, Magnificent 7 stocks, the stocks which trade most volume. We tried those levels to the community, and we also trade these with our SPY VIX strategy to trade the marketplace. That will cover some of those today. In addition to that, we also shared the levels for coin MSTR and all the Bitcoin dependent plays, so traders can trade those plays in the community using Ripster EMACloud system. In addition to that, we also trade low floats. We have a low floats watch list, IPOs. We have IPO watch list as well. I'm on the voice first few hours of the market open, guiding the traders through the market. If needed, I'm on the voice all day. Any trade I'm taking, or even if I don't take the trade, guiding the traders through the trade setups that we trade. Our community has thousands of traders on our trading floor all day sharing ideas. We are not an alert or signal service, but we have an active trading floor where all the traders all day long share the trade ideas that we try to trade together, keeping our losers small and winners big. That's what we try to do. We have a bunch of free tools in the community. We have 4 3-option scanners. We have a stock scanner. We have audio news alerts. We have breaking news alerts on our trading floor. We have hold, unhold level. We have bookmap, and a bunch of other tools which we provide, which are worth $500, $600 a month, which are free to anybody who joins the community. It is free for them. So that being said, I will show you my timestamp guidance on our plays, winners and losers, and we'll try to learn from those and see how we can learn and keep implementing the system, avoiding big losers and having big winners. Let's start. All right, let's start with SPY QQQ. Let's see what the market did today. Let's look at the daily candle, how it closed. It was a pretty, if you see this candle, the daily candle is closed pretty bearish, and there's a gap over there in the market. But today action was, most of the day it was choppy, but it did give us a little breakout in the middle of the day. So let's recap here. Let's start with our pre-market planning. What was our pre-market planning on the SPY QQQ? I usually provide the pre-market planning in our pre-market guidance. I did put it on the floor today. I said SPY we only long if VIX breaks 24. So that was the plan. We long SPY if 24 breaks and 2367 breaks down, then we will long it. So that was the plan, to trade the market long in the morning. So now when the market opened, let's go here. Okay, so once the market opened, it didn't really have any direction because it was a big gap. You see, whenever there's a big gap, there's always a gap fill. Yesterday you saw that we had a 10 AM bounce. Today we had no direction whatsoever. So we did try to short the SPY on the amateur move, but it never broke the 3450. So we closed the short, right? So we took a loss on our short because you see this candle, it never broke under 3450. If it doesn't break under 3450, means there's no gap fill. Also, the earnings were overall good, but it was just a profit taking. So it never really gave us a chance on the short side. So you see that right at the open, what the market was doing, let's look here at 9:30, you see the VIX started to spike over 24. You see the VIX was spiking over 24. That's why, as per our plan, we're not supposed to, long the market. But the problem with the market was that after we took a loss, because you see that it's no confirmed, it was not really giving us anything. It started chop, up, down. It chopped for the first 30 minutes. That's what the market did. So, but after that was done, I told everybody to sit on hands. Our morning trade on the market at least didn't work. I was not really interested in market unless it broke our pre-market high. So pre-market high is a very important concept that all of you need to understand. So let's say here, let's go back in time and I'll show you what happened later. Then SPY started to show this, this downtrend channel here, right? So if you look at that downtrend channel, so it started to show this downtrend channel and it started to push over that. You see that? And this tells you it's turning bullish, right? So it's trying to turn bullish. The QQQs and SPY, both of those were trying to turn bullish. And as it was turning bullish, I told traders, watch out the pre-market highs. You can add position here, that's fine. But once it started to push, you see it pushed, it started to push over the breakout. I told the traders, get the next pullback. Let's look here. You see that it's breaking out. So it's breaking out of that candle. And now you will see that it's a breakout. But before it was doing this, there was this pullback. You see this pullback? This pullback, I told the traders, add on this pullback. Then if it breaks out, you further add into that position once it's breaking out. So you can add your calls, 563 calls or 483 calls on QQQ. Doesn't really matter what you want to add there. So once it's confirmed the breakout, so you see this was the pullback candle. If I can show you that again, maybe I can show you that on SPY here. So let me show you here on the pullback on the SPY candle, right? So you see this breakout. So this is your initial long once it's breaking the trend line. But I was more interested to see if we can break the top of the pre-market highs. So that's what I was interested in. So let's see here. So you see that big push. And then, there was actually, you don't see it, but there was this pullback. This is where I told the traders to add on that pullback. And a lot of traders did add on that pullback. And once it broke out of the pre-market highs, I told the traders add into your position. So, and from that, I told the traders to hold the longs, let it work out. And we pushed, you can see that my timestamp guidance, and we pushed. So we pushed decent. Our stops were now at 512. So if you the traders who were long here or here, if you look at the QQQ calls, we can look at the today's expiry. Let's look here at 483s or 484s. So those calls on that breakout right at 1020, they went from $1 all the way to $4, right? So that was almost 200-250% gain on this breakout, the one that I'm trying to explain it to you.
we got the loss, but that was a small loss, but the winner was 2-3 times much more than what the loss we took. So that's how you turn the trade green. So there was no setup after the first loss. The setup was here, the setup was here. So that's what we traded, right? So that was, you could trade the leverage ETF on their breakout, you could trade whatever. And not only that, if I show you that what I was talking about, because I try to teach these setups live, I never try to do hindsight things. So let me show you something here, right? So what I told on X. So let's see here. So if you see that, I told the traders if VIX drops, we will get the trend out of the pre-market highs, right? So this was the setup even before we broke out, and this was the next breakout, add into the position. So you see that was the breakout. And what we noticed was these candles. This is where you add. And when this is happening, you know it's going to go higher, you add. And this is happening again, you know it's going to go higher, you add. So you see the move from 483.50s all the way to 485.86. So that was the trade to make money in the market. Either you're trading S&P, SPY, NASDAQ futures, QQQ, ES futures, leverage ETFs, options, anything you're trading, that's your repeatable setup to make money on. You sit on the hand when this is happening, you take an initial loss, you sit on the hand because it's not giving us a short, it's chop, so you get out. So we took that morning loss, but you see this move, and just like that, right? I showed the move before and after that it happened. So this your entry could be here, add into more position here, your entry, which I specifically mentioned on the voice, that your entry can be here, and then that it takes you way higher there. Now what happened later was, the market kind of gave up. The reason market gave up at, what was it, 11:30, right? So 11:30 was when it started to push over the 512s. You see that this is VIX is curling, and SPY QQQ is breaking down. So you exit. So that's when I told everybody, exit all. There was a news on NVDA, and we got a little bullish on that news, and really thought we might push. But NVIDIA news was actually the top. And after that, NVIDIA dumped, and then we went into the chop. So after you short here, you cover here, or you close out everything here. And this was a chop zone, guys. This is where you trade and you lose money, right? So this is where you trade and then you lose money. If we did not exit at the 512, we would have lost money long too. You long here, take some off. I told the traders to sell 50% off. We were expecting a little bit more push, but regardless, we were not red in this trade. And after that, we avoided it. All this action was avoiding the chop. All this was the chop. Nothing else. Up, down. This is not a trend, right? When the price is stuck between the pre-market highs or the highs of the day or this area, this is a chop zone. You see, my labels also told that it was a chop zone. So that's how you save money. Your trade was this, or maybe you short the 512s here, make a little bit of money here, right? But morning loss, small loss, and big breakout win. So that was a beautiful, beautiful trade in the community today. That was one of our good trades that made a little bit of our day there. Let's go to the next one. So next we're going to look at Google and Microsoft. So when this breakout was happening, guys, let's go back. We're done with the VIX. When this breakout was happening on the market, at that time, a lot of stocks ran. That was your opportunity. There was a Google long right here. It was a tough day, but if you stopped trading after this, you would have been okay, took a small loss. Also remember, it was a gap up. This was a gap up chop. This was what it was, a gap up chop. So Google gave an opportunity. I mentioned that Google has a call flow, and traders traded Google in the community a little bit there to the higher side as well. A lot of traders were trading on Google as well. So there was a Google push on that, and Amazon gave a nice trade on that as well. There was a nice push on there as well. So those was, but it was not a huge curl. It was just a little bit curl. But Apple So Apple was better push on that breakout, right? Everything moves to the market. Apple though was a weird because of the earnings. It had a weird candles, but and then it held up because of the earnings. Didn't really break down, but there's no trade in this was a chop, this was a chop, this was a chop, this was a chop. We need, as a traders, as active traders, we need to learn how to avoid this chop, right? So this was the only setup. Everything pushed on that. When we recap Tesla, you will see that what Tesla did, same thing here. All right, so let's talk about Lilly now. So Lilly was one of our big trade in the community today. We did try one small curl which failed, but we'll look here. So this was Lilly today. All day fader, let's look at Lilly daily chart. So Lilly, it was broke the MTF clouds. So it was a lot of MTFs there. You see that breaking the MTFs. It also break another MTF middle of the day. So that's how Lilly was. But let's look at the pre-market plan on Lilly. So Lilly was one of my top focus. We have traded Lilly many, many times. I always highlight any trade which is high focus for me. So Lilly plan was watch the 512 curls if PM lows hold, neutral to bearish bias. And when this happened, so as soon as the market opened, I told everybody Lilly short. I even tweeted about that in the morning that Lilly short right away. You see that? So when we shorted Lilly, 830 was our first target, 825 was our next target. Why was our 825 our next target? Because 825 was 2021 MTF. By the time we hit 830, the puts already went 100%, right? Nice move from here. Now it started to bounce. That's fine. When it pushed over here, we closed our puts and we tried to curl it. We tried to curl it, and when the curl failed, we got out and we re-shorted it. So this is a great concept I teach a lot. The 512 breaks is even more bearish. When a bearish stock fails to curl 512 clouds, it often indicates continued downtrend, means it's more bearish. So it's more bearish. So that's why I said Lilly reshort. So if you got out of the 830 puts, you could add the 830 puts again. Whatever you want to use to trade it, you add it again. When I told traders, if we break the MTF, we gonna go lower 820. And I even told traders on the voice, we can even go to 800. That was our target. And from then, as soon as the MTF was gone, Lilly continued to fade, met our 800 target. I told the traders to roll with profits into some other options. If you made, let's say, 4, 5, 6 grand, you throw $700-800 into further lot options. And after that, Lilly bounced and we stopped out of all our short. Before I discuss the call, this was a home run setup, right? There was a short right here, there was a short right here, and with the shares or the options, you can do whatever. But if you just want to look at Lilly Lotos, let's just start with 830s, right? So 830s went from $4 by end of the day, it went $38, right? So initially it went 400-200%, right? 100%. Let's say you shorted here at 6, right? It went 100%. It pulled back, and this was when Lilly failed that curl that I just showed you. And then you can get back in those again. That what were they? They were $8, or you could trade 820s, right? It doesn't really matter. So you could trade 820s. So let's go there. Let's look at the 820s. And even that 820s went from $6 to 30. That was like a 400%, gain on that. But if you just held your shorts from the morning, if you did not stop out, then of course you got more than that, right? So even if you don't read too many, right? Even if you have 2 lotos for, let's say you had 2 options for $1,200, right? At the end of the day, you're making 5-6 grand, but you just have to be patient. You don't have to load your whole portfolio into these puts. But anyways, you can see the timestamp guidance. You can see the failed curls and how we nailed the short. Huge win for us, huge win for the community. You can find some past Lilly trades in as well if you look through my history or the old recaps. We tried this curl longs like this. When we tried this curls longs over 810, we put our stops at 805, $5 risk. It pulled back. We held it on. We moved our stops up to 806, 807. Then Lily curl started to work. It started to push from that. It pushed to 815, 816. But once it break here, remember, you're trying to start shorting here. When it breaks here, you exit it. And Lily actually gave another fade back to 800. I was not part of that, but you see how many failed shorts were there on Lily. So that was a curl, and then this was a failed short again, right? We gave a little bit money here, but we made money here. This was a kind of a scratch break-even trade. Didn't really give us much, but you can see the power of the Ripster EMA cloud system. You can see the power of the MTF clouds, MTF1, MTF2. So you can see that how the Lily trade was amazing, right? And you can see we tried to play the curls, but the curls did not work. So we stopped out at 811 and we were out of that position end of the day. Let's go to the next one. So next trade, which was a successful trade, was a Qualcomm short. So let's look at their Qualcomm. So Qualcomm was a highlighted trade, short if it breaks pre-market lows, only long if 140 holds, right? So that was the plan. 139, 141 were the levels I gave in the pre-market. As soon as I saw the weakness, I told everybody to short and watch the pops. When I say pops, you watch the pop back to the high of the day opening price or the 512. You hit it here. That's when I told the traders you can hit it here, right here. When it was testing the 512s, you hit the short right here when it's testing those 512s, and you hit the short here. And then 512 rejections, the target was 135. We almost hit that 135. We're still short of 20 cents, but this was a nice fade from here to here. Then it started to curl and we stopped out. It did fade again, it gave a nice little fade, but then again, never broke that previous lows. This is called higher low on a half and 30-minute candle or whatever. But that's higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low means it's not going to be short. The buyers keep coming in on this trend line, and so it was not worth it. So it was only the morning short, from 138s and all the way to 135.24s. Decent move on the puts, nothing crazy. We can look at the 137 puts. Always look at the closer puts. So those ones, if you look here at the open, of course, they have high IV, but it did from the rejections 175 to 70. Nothing crazy, but it did give, a decent trade there for the traders in the community. Let's go to the next one. So next one we're going to look at is Meta. So what was Meta doing today? So Meta was on opening profit taking short. So let's look here. What was a Meta trade? So Meta, what was the plan on Meta? Let's see here. The plan on Meta was bullish bias to long pullback, 590-600 psychological breakout, no go under the support level. So we are not going to be long under the 580s or 575s. So as soon as breaks 512s, I told the traders no long yet, still a profit taking short, no long yet, 575 big support level. So you short it, 585, short it, still heavy, and it hit our 575 level. Then it even hit my next target was 571, and we hit 570.62. At that time, market started to bounce and it started to recover, but this was the winning trade into 10 a.m. That's why we always we cover our profits, first profits into 10 a.m. Then started to bounce. It was trying to curl. We tried to play the curl, and by the time the curl started to work, then market started to fade. So the curls failed, right? So you have to add curls right here and the stops of 580, and that curls kind of failed, and then the curl did not work and we got out, and that was a low. So this was a chop again, guys. So this move up, down, it's very hard, nothing wrong with it, but we can only manage our risk. And so we just can't just go crazy. Once it does this, just leave it alone. Morning short, that's it. Try to call here. We do not try to buy these dips, but our setup was right here. But again, there was all this resistance here, so it couldn't push higher, and the market started dumping, and the Meta did not work. Meta was overall, I mean, we did get a little short here. It was like a bummer. It has a gap to fill. We'll watch tomorrow what it does. It does have a decent gap from 560 6 to 540s. We'll see what it does tomorrow. All right, so next one we're going to look at is Tesla. So Tesla was a morning loser because it did not hold that 283. We stopped out and we got out. So that was a morning long loser, right? So we were watching the pullbacks, but then it gave a 512 curls right here, and the target I gave was 290, and final target I gave was 293.40. But again, the market started to pull back heavy, and so we stopped out of Tesla. So everything is the same to what market was doing. This move, you know, if you did not manage, today was a day that if you were not managing it closely, you know, you could lose a lot of money. So not the best of the day with the price action. This price action is not what we want. Up, down, up big, down big.
CCAR.
It is very hard to trade this setup, but we can just manage our risk. When this breaks, you get out. Your entry was here, not here. So I do not expect anybody to start adding here. Your entry was here, this area. So if your entry is here, you still get out in positive or a little bit profit. So that was Tesla. Let's look at NVIDIA. So NVIDIA was our loser today because so much chop in NVIDIA. We shorted it and it bounced. We covered the short, pulled back, up, down, and then there was a news on NVIDIA. We tried to long on that news and even lost on that. You see the pre-market high breakout. So yeah, so these were the losers, guys, you know, and it's part of the game. That's fine, right? Because you just have to identify this price action. I hate this gap up chop. This is called gap up chop. You see, this was all the chop zone, no trades. This is called chop zone, no trade zone. It's basically there's no trend in this entire thing. I did tweet about that as well. You know, it's you have to know the market personality. It's not always about making money. It's also about understanding the chop zone. You know, I did tweet about it as well, that this is a chop zone. Ripster was telling you it's a chop zone. Chop, chop, chop. After that big push, chop, 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 right? So that was it today, guys. That's how you to manage that. Let's go to the next one. So next one we're going to look at is Hood. Hood was our morning short, gap and crap, right at the open to the 47 target, and the next level was 46. We did not hit 46, we hit 47. You can see that Hood was, let's look here, where's Hood? Yeah, 512 fail, wait to see 34 hold, long versus 50, no go under 50. So basically under 50 there was no trade. So Hood was a 50 psychological level short, and you have to be fast. You have to short it right at the open, and you know, when I said that, and you short it, you cover it, and then of course 10 a.m. right? The 10 a.m. concept is so important. You see the bounces at 10 a.m. right into the MTF. You could reshort it as well, but you know, I didn't focus on that later in the day. But this was the main gap and crap. So then we had CVS. That was a gap and crap as well. You see the first pull down, pushed, you shorted again, faded, cover here. We tried to call it, didn't work, failed big time, and flushed furthermore. So this is also gap and crap, but you see the first candle wiped the whole move up, and then it took all day to just make the first candle. You see that. So this is something you have to understand, right? And if you draw the Fibonacci on CVS, you see that it's been bouncing from that 61. If you put it high of the, you know, if you put that, even if you put it right here at the high of the pre-market, you see it's bouncing from the Fibonacci levels. Always use Fibonacci's on the gap and crabs. So there were some other trades, RGV, one of our lead traders in the community, he was guiding on these day 2, day 3 setups. I love day 2, day 3 setups. Actually, they were much better. So RGV alerted the long there on ODD was long all day. It was one of our day 2 setups, one of our MTF support and 55, and it was also all-time high breakout. So that's why it was a long from here into that, and you get out right here. So there are some other trades as well. There was Wayfair, which was a morning short. Let's see if we had it on our game plan here. Only long if clouds hold, daily 50-50 MTF. It could not push over the 50 MTF, and that was a nice short. You could see that breakdown right from there. Then we had our SBUX, which was our day 2 long. And again, Starbucks, one of our top day twos. You could see that it pushed over the MTFs, right? And then MTFs really helps to take those long trades, give you a couple of bucks there. There was PLTR, one of our day twos. It has been running for a few days. That was a short at the open under the MTFs. Traders were on PLTR, and the lower MTF was the target. Never could pull up. You short it again on this retest and take it down. There was also MSTR. You see this. This was the long setup right here, and it was around the same time the market started to push, mimicking the market. This move, you see that, mimicking the market move. And pushed it. It was a 400 breakout. You could long it here and take it there. Traders were trading that one in the community. So yeah, I mean, you can see the guidance by a lot of traders in the community on MSTR. So anyways, guys, this was it today. Not really the best of the day, but you need to understand the chop, the gap up and chop. Hopefully tomorrow we have a better day. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye bye.